to the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Ultimates Podcast. And this week on the podcast, I'm going to welcome a new guest to the show, teammate, MMA coach, badass grappler, and comeback king, Mr. Eli Adams. What's up, Eli? How you feeling, man?
Hey, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for making the time to do this. I always say that when anyone comes on to the show, like, you're giving me your time, so I appreciate it. So thank you.
Of course.
So I want to kind of get into really, like, I know you on the mats, like we've grappled a couple times and it's like, okay, I know Eli,
right.
I see you on Instagram. So I was like, okay, I know Eli, but I don't know Eli. So I really just want to kind of get into your story of grappling and MMA period. Cause I know you're an MMA guy, you're a striker. Mm-hmm. I knew that when I grappled with you, I was like, yes, this is an MMA guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and just like grapple this dude down. And then you went for an ankle lock. I was like, okay, all right, I see. This is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But well, how long have you been training?
Training MMA specifically, Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai for about 4 years now. Only with Crazy 88 since day one. I came up doing other traditional martial arts. I did a little bit of Taekwondo and karate as a kid. And my dad has his own Kung Fu gym in Colombia. So I grew up doing Jiao Ga Kung Fu, more northern style. That's kind of like what started my love for martial arts and kind of started my journey into this.
Okay, cool. In going to 88, like, what prompted you to, check them out and just jump into those waters?
Honestly, man, it started out with, being at community college. I dropped out, wasn't really my thing. I played lacrosse in high school, kind of missing that team camaraderie and having that routine and discipline. Like, I have to do X, Y, and Z in order to get to practice. And I need to make sure everything else is outside of practice is good, so I have a good practice. Like, just that mental stability almost, right? Started out just, me and the guys sparring a little bit in the backyard, and we kind of all fell in love with it. And Caden actually found the gym first, and he's like, bro, like, I found this gym, you got to come check it out. And I just fell in love with it since then.
Nice. I always find that interesting, like, how people get there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm always fascinated, like, why here?
Right.
Like, versus anywhere else. Not even just there, but like this sport.
Yeah.
Because people who get into MMA and jiu-jitsu, from my experience with them, sometimes I just feel like we aren't tightly wound. So I'm always like, why are you doing this? So
it definitely takes a special person to want to do what we do.
Yeah.
And you don't really understand it unless you're in it.
Yeah, I try to get my friends all the time, like, yo, come try it out, man. Come do this, come do that. And they're like,
Yeah, it's not for everybody, but, if it's for you, it's definitely an amazing thing.
Yeah, I'll try to do things with my friends that they want me to do, and I use that as like, okay, I did your thing.
Right, now you got to come train.
My co-host for the Colompton Beer Club, I think the thing that gets him is when I say, well, yeah, just come through and sign the waiver. He's like, whoa, what?
Waiver, yeah.
Sign a fucking waiver? I was like, I mean, I come play volleyball with you. Of course we don't got a waiver because,
Yeah.
But if I get fucked up, I'm suing you.
Yeah.
Let's just know that. We boys. But, like, there's a lawsuit if I hurt my knee or my shoulder.
Uh-huh.
So with you being here specifically for 4 years, what was that rise like for you, like, just coming up in the gym, like, day one you get in there, like, what were those feelings like? Did you feel like, okay, this is new, but I got some skin in the game in this martial arts thing, like, these guys can't hang with me? Or was it really just kind of like a humble walk in, like, look, I'm here to learn, teach me?
Yeah, it was definitely a humbling experience. I mean, especially like being on the MMA team, I grapple with high level amateur guys, spar with the pro guys, and from day one, they always thought I would get discouraged. I would get frustrated. I would leave practice like, damn, like, I just got my ass beat for like 2 hours. And then, they would always tell me, like, you got to be the nail to be the hammer one day. And it speaks truth.
Yeah, that's that hammer nail analogy always gets me.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. I'm like, dude, when do I get to be the hammer?
Yeah.
like I can tell you now, I done built a few houses now. How many nails I've been? like chill, son.
Oh yeah.
Like throughout this journey, one thing I'm always concerned about. Just I'm an older guy, so injuries stack up for me. Like I sneeze funny, and my back is gone. Have you had any like tough injuries along the way doing this, like early on, or just anywhere in this journey?
Yeah, I played sports growing up, played lacrosse. Really didn't have any major injuries in there. Really, all my injuries started once I started doing MMA. Broken collarbones, AC joints, broken nose. Really, I would say the most challenging one more recently was I tore my UCL. Back in April, I was competing. I was in an arm bar, didn't feel any threat. My arm kicked out a weird way, felt like the pop, and I lost my UCL. Kept fighting, ended up taking third. I had like 2 more matches after that, and yeah.
So the UCL. So I'm only newly familiar with that, only from football, because I think 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy tore his UCL last year.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, that sounds made up.
Yeah, it's like I think baseball players very common, like pitchers. Like they wanted me to get that Tommy John surgery and stuff. I decided to go no surgery, just rehabbing it with my strength coaches, Cody Toller and Nick Campanera. Nursed me back to health, man. The 3 doctors, 3 orthopedic surgeons told me you have to get surgery, and
I think we've had a few fighters from our gym being told like, hey, you need to get surgery. I think Riggs, she was told like you got to get neck surgery or you might not be able to grapple again. She was like, okay, watch this.
Yeah.
And Ronnie was told to get surgery on his knee.
I remember that. Yeah.
The doctors were quick, like, hey man, go ahead and get some surgery. Like, oh.
And I felt that with the first doctor, honestly. Like he was like, yeah, man, let's like cut you up tomorrow. I'm like, hold up, like let me get a second opinion. I had conversations with our coaches, and we felt like it was the best option to get more opinions, research it some more. There's not a lot of the information and data on UCL tears and MMA. It's not a really common MMA injury, more of a baseball injury, but even those numbers are post-op, not a lot of those guys are returning to play, or even if they are, their quality of performance is drastically decreased.
I think also with, when you think about baseball players, and more so like on a major league and, AAA teams and stuff like that, there's more incentive for them just to go get the surgery because it's like, we need to get you back, as soon as possible. But it seems like that surgery then lends them to more rehab and keeps them out longer, because you said this happened in April. Mm-hmm. And, you're out there coaching now, competing, and that's April. Well, we're in October now. So, feels like a solid turnaround versus surgery. Probably out another couple months by this point.
Yeah, they told me the timeline was probably, if I did get the surgery, they said like 6 months to a year, like post surgery after all the rehab. I'm like, dude, I'm young, I gotta run at this while I'm young,
Yeah. I also wonder too with that. It's like, well, he's young, get the surgery, he'll recover quick. And I was like, yeah, young being like an 8-year-old versus young being like in your 20s is
a little bit different.
Like, I'm gonna recover, but let's avoid going under the knife. Like chill, y'all.
Right.
But I'm glad it all worked out for you in that realm, because people are quick to like take that first opinion, like, oh, surgery, I guess I should get surgery.
Yeah, man, I was on the books and everything. I had to cancel my appointment. I would have, like, a week afterwards would have been all recovering from a surgery.
Well, and then also think about that too, recovering from surgery. Now you're off the match, you're watching, like, you're just watching the team go, and it's like, damn, I can't even do nothing. It was been all cast up and everything.
Right.
So good.
At the beginning of the season, I had won Grappling Industries at the beginning of the year, I think like January or February. I had the goal in mind. I wanted to stay competitively active this year as much as I can. Then, of course, the UCL thing happened. So just, rest of the year, just go trying to get as many in as I can before the year's up.
Yeah. I mean, just, thinking about that trajectory too, it's like back in February, you got this momentum, and then you get stopped. It's
Right.
like, shit. Because over the summer, there's so much going on with competitions.
Yeah.
There's competition every week.
Yeah.
So, but, the big thing now here is that you just recently competed up in Atlantic City.
Yes, sir.
ADCC, and, big bounce back.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, man, that was a crazy experience. ADCC Open, Atlantic City. 2 weekends ago, went up with the team. Had 2 matches in my division. Won my first by points, won my second by submission, ankle lock. And yeah, man, ADCC champ now.
That's on the resume.
Yeah.
Love it. That's one thing I always kind of feel with our gym. A lot of gyms, but our gym specifically, because I have that experience with our gym.
Yeah.
Is, look at other gyms, you see competitors, but it's like specific, like, they're higher belts specifically are competing. Whereas like we're getting everyone in the game.
Yeah.
Everyone, kids, white belts. So you've been here for what, 4 months? You should think about competing. We don't force anyone to compete, but test yourself.
Right.
Okay, cool. Got your blue belt. Keep that momentum rolling. Purple belt, keep the momentum rolling. And it's not even just like, oh, we're competing and just kind of going out there and biding our time. Like, y'all are out there kicking ass. Like every time I look on Instagram, like after the weekend, it's like, damn, I can't keep up reposting, man. Y'all gotta slow down. Keep winning, but damn, dude, like space out some of those wins for me so I can like post.
Yeah, and as a team, we had 6 competitors at ADCC. We took second overall.
Yeah, saw that. When I saw that, like I reposted and was like, hey, I know these guys.
Yeah.
No, I don't train. I know them. Like, these are my people.
This is the spot. It's the spot to be at.
So congrats on that. I always say, and it could be biased. I was like, look, man, we the best. We the best gym in Maryland. And
I believe it for sure.
it's like, we send out cats winning world titles. We send out cats to the UFC.
Yeah.
CFFC. We got cats out there winning it. And it's, not trying to, dog other gyms. But it's like, look, it's cool. There are different levels to it. Like myself, I'm a hobbyist. So I'm not out there competing. It could be other gyms are just full blown like that. But it's like, if you say, hey, where would you suggest, someone go to really, pick up the game and really advance themselves, quickly and efficiently. And I'm going to say Crazy 88.
Yeah.
It's wild about that. I didn't even introduce the school in the beginning. I was just talking shit out here. But yeah, we train at 88 what?
Oh, yeah. What's up?
But yeah, that's big though. Just coming back from that injury like that, because, a lot of people, injuries fuck with you. You get in your head and then you worry, going out there. I think, back in April, I strained my groin.
Yeah.
And, every time I thought I was good, I don't know if I was or wasn't, but it was definitely in my head.
Yeah.
So, being able to overcome just any mental aspect of that as well, it is big. Like, was this all just in training? Did you see a sports psychologist, or you just strictly went out there and was like, look, I'm confident in what I can do in my recovery?
I was definitely, I prepared. I did put all the work in. I felt confident in my preparation. I felt the most confident in the best shape of my life going out there. On the mental side, though, I was nervous, bro. I was having talks with Sergio after practice. I wouldn't say I'm an anxious person at all, but I was like feeling like almost like on the verge of like a panic attack. I would tell him I was like I felt like I was on the verge of tears. Like I just had a good practice, whether it was good practice or not. Like I just felt overwhelmed. I'm like, I don't know, like what's wrong with me? Like why am I feeling like this? Obviously, those are normal emotions, but they were just foreign to me. So talking to Sergio, talking to Coach Keith, they recommended some literature. Was reading some books. Sergio recommended a Jonah Hill film on Netflix about like struts when he was talking to the psychologist. Great film. And learned a lot in that hour of watching that, and watched it a couple of times, and read Inner Game of Tennis was the book Coach Keith recommended.
Okay.
Mainly it was like, it wasn't that I wasn't feeling like I was ready. It was like, like if I go out there and like my arm snaps, right? It's but I just got over that, and I was like, I'm prepared to just compete, and if my arm breaks, my arm breaks. If whatever happens, happens,
Good. It's definitely, a hard thing to kind of bounce from, and to come back in with that mindset of like, look, I'm just going out here, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
We all can't do that. Like I said, it ain't for me.
Yeah.
So, kudos.
Thank you, bro. I feel like also just another, I've been trying to stress this to even my own students, is just like having a growth mindset. Cody Toller was really pushing this on me every day in the weight room when we're lifting, just like, and even Sergio was telling me, is like, before I went and competed, he's like, if you win this tournament, your life's going to be the same. If you lose this tournament, your life's going to be the same. And it's just like another check in the box, like just that growth mindset of, we're just going to keep going, keep the ball rolling.
It's a good way to look at it. So, for individuals with high anxiety, that's not even a thought. It's like, if I go out here and lose, I'm a loser.
Yeah.
Like I fucking suck. I disappointed everybody. But if I go out here and win, like, now what? I gotta continue to do better. Like, I gotta win again. And, it's like, just go out there and do what you do, and if you win, go out and eat after.
Yeah, right.
If you lose, go out and eat after, because you were gonna go do that shit anyway. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely a great piece of advice there. Like, I need to employ that now in my mindset, even with these podcasts.
Yeah, man, everything, bro. It's life. You gotta just go.
With your training, MMA, BJJ, either or, what's been like the most enjoyable kind of aspect of it?
Man, I'm biased. I'm a Muay Thai coach, and definitely I'd say the striking. I have fallen, in love with jiu-jitsu, but definitely striking is my favorite for sure. Yeah.
Hey man, ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, you're a striker. MMA, Muay Thai. That's you. Look, jiu-jitsu. We got milk and cookies on our side, son. We got pamphlets. We got medals. What y'all got there? Belts. So we got medals.
Yeah.
No, but like it's. I always think about anyone that kind of does multiple disciplines. You're always going to have what you lean into. Even in jiu-jitsu, you got gi versus no gi. It's like, whatever you love is what you love.
Yeah.
Your go-to.
It's funny you mentioned that too. It's because coming in, not only coming into that, but like going back to that mental thing is like, I was doing pretty well in the gi, and I mean, for being an MMA guy, I surprisingly wasn't doing too hot in no gi. I was coming off a 5-fight losing streak in no gi, but I was doing pretty well with gi. Coach Keith started calling me Eli.
I think when I think I rolled with you and I was sitting on the side, and then he had said something like he brought you up, because I think I just rolled with you like probably 2 rolls prior. Mm-hmm. He called you Gili, and I was like, and I legit thought, I was like, Gili, that's wild. He in the gi. Okay. I was like, no. And then he explained it. I was like, oh.
Yeah. I asked Sergio after I won ADCC. I was like, can I be no Gili now?
I mean, like, look, you said you was on the losing streak there, but you went to ADCC and was like, streak be damned. Like, you did what you had to do, and you didn't let the losses of the past hold you down. So again, kudos to you. That's tight. So good.
Appreciate it.
Now, I always ask, what you like most. I also want to know, on the other end of that, with training, what's something that is kind of like not necessarily a negative or like, but like just kind of one of those things where it's like it's a little frustrating to you at times.
Honestly, I'd say it's probably the most helpful addition, but at first implementing it was kind of not a struggle, but I so like lifting, strength and conditioning. Absolutely, you need to if you're competing, you need to be lifting, getting your strength conditioning work. Waking up early, lifting, having to coach, and then train multiple times in the day, it's like taxing. It's not even physically well, it is physically taxing, but just more mentally. It's like, damn, I'm here all day. I have to coach the kids class, the adults class, like, but having that, because I know how helpful it is, how beneficial it is, that it's almost like waking up. It makes my day go better, right? I get my lift in the morning, you know, then I have a better practice because I'm already warmed up, you know. I've already had a workout in.
Yeah, it's like, you know, kind of starting the day off. You've already accomplished something. Yeah. So the day is already rolling. You know, the earlier you do it, you know, the smoother it goes.
I feel like those mornings where you wake up at 7, you know, you have a good breakfast, go for a run, something like the rest of your day is just set up for success versus you hit that snooze button, you're like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym today, and you're just dragging ass all day, you know?
I'm definitely a snooze button guy. I set my alarm at 6:45 on purpose, knowing, look, just hit the snooze button, get up at 7, because if it goes at 7, and we're looking at 7:15.
Yeah.
So, but good. How has your training like affected your life away from the gym and off the mats?
Definitely a lot of sacrifices, a lot of missed birthdays, a lot of missed family things. Not, you know, losing friends, you know, over stuff, like just because I can't be there all the time, right? I have to train, I have other obligations. I would say in that regard, I mean, it's just part of the game. If you know you want to make it in this stuff, you're gonna have to sacrifice something, you know.
I think that's the friendship thing is a big one, because I always say my friends, you know, our teammates are also their friends as well. Mm-hmm. You know, it's your team, but it gets weird because it's like you've grown in a different way now. Mm-hmm. You've moved this direction, and your friends over here, they're not going that same direction with you. So there does become this weird tension where you're like, look, I have a goal. Yeah. I'm moving in this direction. It's like, I don't want to be a dick to y'all, but you know, this is something I'm trying to accomplish. Mm-hmm. And you know, sometimes you got people that they may not do the same training as you, but you know, they're definitely in your corner. And then there are others that are like, okay, you know, some are like, you know, I respect that. Well, I'm gonna go over here and, you know, do this activity. You over there do your activity. You know, we'll meet back up in the middle. Right. You know, catch up.
Yeah. With that being said, it is cool to see, like, my close friends, like, whether they train or not, you know, that they're successful in whatever walk of life that they're doing, you know. And then now that, you know, I've had some years in the game, they've had some years in their thing, we're able to, like, come back and work on projects together, kind of help each other out, stuff like that.
Good. I don't think, you know, it's always final either. You know, when you move on, it's the evolution of your, you know, relationships, and, you know, if it was solid, you can always come back to it. Yeah. And that's, I always feel like that's kind of how you can tell, you know, you bounce this way and you come back, you know, y'all still click. Like, one of my closest friends, she and I think once we stopped working together, we just didn't really communicate as much. You know, we would still kind of hang out sometimes, like the families and everything. And then when she moved out to Baltimore and I'm still out here, I was like, okay, we don't see each other at all. Yeah. One day, you know, I hit her up on her birthday. I was like, yo, son, like, want to get brunch? Yeah. Like, I don't know what brunch is. It was really just day drinking. It was like,
some mimosas.
Get some beers at 11.
Yeah, right.
She was like, yeah, son, let's go. And, you know, click. Like, everything, it was like nothing to change. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I have childhood friends like that. You know, it's like we don't talk for months or weeks or even some, you know, hopefully not too long, like a year or something, but it's just like we were hanging out the other day. It's just like old times, right?
Yeah, that made me nervous when, like, I was approaching that year. And this person, you know, we met working at a job just kind of randomly, because people would ask, like, yo, like, what's up with her? Like, and me, I'm relatively introverted, but at that job, it was like, this is my spot. Yeah. So I'm running the show. So I go over to her. She was gay, and people were like, yo, is she gay? I was like, I don't know. Let's go ask. So I was like, hey man, how you doing? Looking at, as we're like doing our job, I'm looking at her work. I was like, cool. Hey, are you gay? And she laughed. She was like, yeah. I was like, all right, word. And then we just like clicked from there. And everybody else was like, oh wow, that's weird that he did that. I was like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? I'll probably get fired.
Yeah,
but
it's interesting how like you make human connections. Like I was actually telling somebody the other day, Caden, my friend who got me into the gym, like it's my best friend. But when we met in middle school, like him and I we butted heads. We didn't like each other, and then that's like my brother, man.
Yeah, my co-host for the other podcast, he just randomly knocked on my door.
Really?
He was like, hey, you want to play basketball? I was like, dude, did you even know if a kid lived here?
Y'all met when you were younger?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It was 92. I just moved here. And he knocks on the door. Was like, hey, you want to play basketball? I don't even know if school started yet. Like, he just knocks on. I was like, all right, let's go. And, we've been friends ever since. But, you have those moments where, you kind of disconnect for a minute. College, so we went our separate ways.
Right.
Came back. And then, when I started this journey doing jiu-jitsu, that was another kind of split point because I don't even know what was going on with him at that time. Like, other than work, he was just working hard.
Right.
And I was like, well, look, I'm going to go out here. I'm going to continue to work too because I got to pay for, life. Mm-hmm. But I'm also going to train. And then when I started the podcast, I reached out to him, had him on as a guest. And then he came up. So he can't taste spice.
Really?
Like, at all. He did the one chip challenge, didn't flinch.
Really?
He ate 2 of them.
No way.
Didn't flinch.
They pulled that thing off the market, didn't they?
I think they pulled it and changed it. Or they might have just did something recent, something bad happened.
Someone died recently. Or something, right?
So they might have pulled that one. I know there was a change because over the summer. So I thought that was that too. But yeah, I think something real bad happened. But we were sitting here. I got a video of it, but he doesn't want to put the video on. I was like, dude, put that video out. Like, come on, dude. Like, let me put the video out.
Yeah, right.
But
I gotta see that one.
He came over because one of our other teammates from the Ivy League days.
Yeah.
He was like, he wanted to do a Hot Ones challenge on the podcast.
That'd be fun.
For y'all. I hate spicy food. And I was like, I kept putting it off. I was like, nah, man, we can't. Nah, not yet. He wanted to do it for my birthday. I was like, fuck no, it's my birthday.
Yeah, right.
What's wrong with you? So then I was like, okay, yeah, bet we can do this. And I called Steve. I was like, hey, yo, son, what's up? Trying to come be on the podcast real quick? Like, we're about to do a Hot Ones challenge. I want to prove a point. So he comes over and we're sitting here. We had 10 hot sauces. I think I got up to 8. It's like the first 7 weren't really that bad.
Did you get it from like the Hot Wings website? Because I know they sell like their own sauces that they have on the show.
I don't. Well, Brian brought those over. So I don't think he did. I think he just had a bunch of random sauces.
Right.
And he got some specific ones. I got up to the bomb.
Okay.
And it felt fine. And I was like, dude, this ain't too bad. It tastes weird, but it's not too bad.
Uh-huh.
About 2 minutes in, I took a sip of water, and the water made it worse. It like every sip of water, it got worse and worse. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
And we had no milk in the house.
Like,
oh my God. And Steve's just sitting there, didn't flinch. And then there's still 2 more sauces to go. I was like, I'm out. And Steve was like, no. The thing for him is he can taste the underlying taste. So he says all that super spicy stuff tastes like dirt to him. But off of that, like I text him after he left. I was like, yo, you want to start a podcast together like us? I was like, yeah. I was like, and since we did that, we drop an episode every week. So now we see each other every week now. And it's like to the point where jokingly I said to him, I was like, look, man, we might need to take a couple episodes off.
Yeah.
I see you every week, man. You be coming over here, spilling beer all over the goddamn table. Like, you don't even clean up your beer.
Right.
You just spill the beer and just were like, oh, drink. But I mean, you have those moments where you have your relationships. They may kind of split, but those true friendships, they're always going to meet back up somewhere along the line. So, it's always refreshing to know that that's there versus some where it's just like, they go away and you catch up to each other and it just feels weird because I've had that a couple of times and. All right, I guess we weren't really tight like that.
You don't want to force like stuff that's not meant to be,
Yeah, Like I got friends from Flint that I'm back in contact with, and it's like, man, like like my niece, she was like, yo, we should get one of our friends growing up in Flint, on the show together, like all three of us. I was like, I mean, maybe, I don't know. Like, I don't know what this. I got to talk to this dude beforehand. I want to just cold drop him into an episode. Like, all right, let's go, and it gets weird,
right?
Because I'm a college football fan. I like Michigan. He like Michigan State. That could get ugly. That can get real ugly on air. I would start calling each other names. Like, hey, remember that time I made you cry? It's like, remember that time you peed yourself? Yo, why you got to bring that up?
Come on, man.
So things could get weird.
Yeah.
So back to reality here. As your training is continuing right now, and the big comeback is here. Mm-hmm. What are some like kind of short-term goals that you have, like as you're moving right now? Just within the next few months of training, let's say like 6 months or so.
In terms of training or like outside of the gym?
Well, really both, kind of. Like, let's go training first, and then what you got, away from the gym.
Okay. Yeah. So training wise, again, staying busy competitively. Next month, November 18th, going back out to Atlanta, IBJJF. Got that, and then December back to striking, doing the MDL Muay Thai Development League. It's local in Catonsville. It's like semi-contact matches, exhibition, kind of like a step down from like smoker fights. Just kind of get my back into striking, and then hopefully get a fight sometime next year.
Okay, nice. I feel like I've heard of that. It sounds familiar.
They're pushing it big on the East Coast because like obviously Muay Thai's from Thailand, and those kids are training that since they're like in diapers, and it's different over here in the States. So kind of getting people more well versed with the rule set and the culture and stuff. It's a cool. I didn't compete in the last one because I was focused on my grappling, but I coached some of the kids. They do adults and kids day and day. It was cool. They had like a whole like rules seminar and like a demonstration of like the Y crew, like the traditional like walkout that they'll do in Thailand. It was a cool experience, man. I'm excited to get in there and compete myself.
And it sounds like just something just in general to see and experience sounds really fun. So good. And how about away from the gym?
Away from the gym, honestly, kind of just keep the ball rolling. I'm looking to start like kind of venturing into different media spaces, like podcasts, for example. I have, obviously this podcast with you today, and have some other ones scheduled. I'm a gamer. I wouldn't say I'm like a hardcore gamer, but looking to get into some like making some content, like streaming a little bit. I've been playing that new Spider-Man game. I was playing it before I went to practice this morning.
I got a friend on Instagram. He keeps sending me screenshots and videos.
Spoiling it?
Well, I don't have a PS5 because I keep saying I'm not going to do this. I am not doing this. I don't even play games like this anymore. I'm chilling. He keeps sending me the videos. I'm like, shit. And then my wife saw one the other day. She's like, oh, that looks good. I was like, don't do this.
Yeah.
Do not do this to me.
Right. It's good, man.
God, I want it, but
hey, holidays coming up, man. You might get one.
The issue with me in video games is once I'm in it, I can play video games every other day for 2 hours. Like if I go beyond that, it's a problem.
Where'd Dante go? I haven't seen him in weeks, man.
I used to play Diablo 2.
Okay.
I want to say 08 maybe. 07, 08 in that window. And I only started because a friend of mine, he was explaining the game. He was talking about like leveling up. He was like, no one can get to a 99. 99, this like, you can't get there. It's so hard to get to 99. I was like, word.
Challenge accepted.
Gotcha. So I jumped into it and, took some filling out and figuring out, what gear was like solid, what was worth it, what wasn't. And then I started figuring out the skill tree. I was like, okay, and also my computer was not great. So if you use certain characters, if you use like a necromancer, fucking freeze up the computer and fuck everything up. If you use like an ice sword, fucking freeze everything up. But then I found out, hey, wait a minute, if you use a lightning sword, that shit's gonna fucking just wipe through everything, not gonna fuck up your computer. So I took that and ran with it. And I think I got to 94. I think I was close to 95, and I think at that point I was like, maybe he's right.
Yeah, he's right, yeah.
But I went to 94 clean. I didn't, have any enhancements. I didn't have anybody doing it for me. Because one of the things I did with the game is I would always help people build their characters.
Yeah.
And if you're cool after everything, because I was very specific. Look, come here, step out of the portal. I'm going to clear this. You collect the experience.
Yeah.
If you're cool, I'll drop you some gear. Like nice, solid gear, some runes and everything. I was genuinely trying to help people. And I got so wrapped up in doing this. It would be like I'd stay up all night and then go to work all fucked up. And then come home, take a quick nap, jump back on. And it would just be hours and hours. And this went on for years. And then just when Diablo 3 dropped, I was like, shit.
Diablo 4 came out like what, earlier this year?
Yeah, I want to say there was like I feel like it was like more recently, but for some reason I'm like, I thought people were playing this over the summer, but I think it came out like in August.
Yeah.
But
I've heard good things about it, but again, like you're saying, it sounds like you can get hooked. So I've stayed away from it.
I'm not doing it. I have no interest. I haven't looked at any videos. I'm not falling for it, but Spider-Man might get me.
Yeah, I was. Even when I walked in, I heard from teammates from Kai and Huggins, Mark, who's done the podcast before, is like, yo, Dante's setup is sick downstairs. Like, I love all the action figures. I'm a big Marvel guy myself. Cool. It's really cool.
Like, are you like movies, comics, TV shows? Like, what's your go-to?
Definitely like the Marvel movies, man. Like the whole how they set that thing up, that whole story is like so cool. I've like read comics here and there. My dad collects some comics, so he has like a cool collection. But I really watch like those like the breakdown videos, like the comics explained. So I haven't read a lot of comics, but I know like the source material it's coming from, and that stuff's all like super cool to me.
I like those types of things, especially now, just the world that we're in, because dude, there's so much fucking content, especially with comic books. There's so much, and trying to go back, trying to find the things. And granted, you can get trades, you can get trade paperbacks, and you could do them digital. But it's just, look, it's time consuming. And if you could find something like on YouTube, they break it down for you and give you kind of the quick explanation. I like that because, especially with the movies now, they're pulling from some of the source material, and some of it they're kind of like, look, we're going to change this a little bit because, like, when you look at Iron Man in 2008, the original story for Iron Man, it was Vietnam.
Yeah.
So you got to adjust that, when they're going to be bringing us the new X-Men. I mean, Magneto, I don't think the Auschwitz story is going to be relevant for a character today for Magneto and the X-Men. So, there's always going to have to be some changes. And I do like that, there is kind of an explanation or an outlet to give the explanation of what came before. So then when you see what we're getting now, it's like, okay, how does it connect to that? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Or sometimes it's okay just to do things completely fucking different too. Yeah. You don't always got to be like, well, it was this way in the book. Because I was that guy.
Yeah.
I was that one. I was like, no, this is how the story's supposed to go. And then one day I just woke up, I was like, dude, shut the fuck up.
I kind of almost wish that like with the movies we get more like Deadpool kind of characters. Like I would love to see like a Spider-Man where he's just like beating the shit out of everybody, and like the Andrew Garfield Dark Spider-Man, If
they did Amazing Spider-Man 3, I didn't like Andrew Garfield initially. Yeah. Because his Peter Parker was too cool.
Yeah.
I don't like Peter Parker.
He's a nerd. Yeah,
he's a nerd. He's scared, Or not scared, but he's
like timid, yeah.
But he was super cool going after the girls. Like I loved his chemistry though with Emma Stone. Yeah. That shit it felt right, but I was like, he's still just too fucking cool. Right. But now if they did a Spider-Man now with him as a grown man in that rage, I would love to have seen what happened after Gwen died, and now he's got that rage because there are stories from Spider-Man where, Venom is wreaking havoc on his life. He's like, okay, little Green Goblin fucking up his life. Like, there's a story, I want to say it was like Amazing Spider-Man 386, where, well, I think it ended there, but it was like kind of a lead up story where his parents came back. He thought, oh my God, my parents are back. I'm happy. And it turns out Green Goblin, who has been long dead, had this setup, and it wasn't really his parents. It was just a couple clones. Mm-hmm. And then when it was all revealed, the fucking monitors in this room just went off, and it was Green Goblin saying, "Gotcha." And from that point, the next few stories, he was just fucking whipping everyone's ass. Mm-hmm. Like, just didn't even hesitate. It was like, oh, he sneezed the wrong way. Looks like you're getting fucked up today. But like, yeah, he's like web him up, and it's like, all right, now you're stuck. Now you're in my punching bag.
Oh yeah.
But I would love to see, just some maturity in these characters. And I know they're, you got to still have your market for the kids, and there's tons of characters to do that. But seeing a Spider-Man actually dealing with like grown-up problems, because all the Spider-Man reboots that we've gotten is Spider-Man from high school, going through high school.
Yeah. Let's
get grown man Spider-Man.
Shit, tax time Spider-Man.
Yeah, talk about, damn, dude, my mortgage, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck, I got some problems. I got to go out here and sling these webs.
Uh-huh.
And even with, Disney having, all the Marvel characters now, like Wolverine, do something big. I mean, he's coming into the Deadpool fold, mm-hmm. And that's going to be fun.
I was watching that Wolverine movie the other night, the
Logan?
Not the one before Logan.
Oh, yeah, just the Wolverine.
The Wolverine, yeah. I loved Logan, though. Logan was really good.
Logan's one that, like, I think I didn't watch it until recently.
Really?
Because I'm weird with movies when there's, like, build up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to watch because I have this expectation now.
Right.
So I watched it last spring.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've tried to watch it before. I just would fall asleep. But
mm-hmm.
I watched it last spring, and I enjoyed it. But then I was also thinking, like, okay, now I'm enjoying it for one thing. But what are these other folks enjoying it for? Because I knew a couple cats that were like, he cusses in this one. Like, that's what we need. And I was like, that doesn't really make the story.
Yeah.
Like, the story's good, but him cussing, like, yeah, I like to cuss a lot. A lot. But that doesn't mean anything I say means shit because I cuss. Like,
I want Wolverine to say bub on the...
Yeah, like, that's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Like he did it in the first Wolverine movie, because when he was like, he ran into Blob and he said something, blah, 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 bub. And he was like, did you call me Blob? And it was like, I think that's the only time I've heard him say bub. It's like, oh, you guys fucking ruined it. Like,
nice try.
Like, yeah, it was a valiant attempt, but you guys fucking suck, fucks. But
yeah, that was the Fox X-Men, yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole, like, dude, I'm pretty sure I've got some episodes where I just rip into Fox. Like, fuck those guys. But yeah, just with the movies and just the access that we have to all of it now, it's good. At one point I was like, this is not good. I do think maybe we need to, because Marvel was dropping a lot of films and shows in 1 year. It's like, hey, slow down. Like, I need to have a chance to miss you. Like, I'm not getting that now.
And I feel like, like you're saying, like, expectations, like, I mean, I know me personally, after Endgame, it's like, I want every Marvel movie to, like, because that, like, being a fan, like, seeing that in the theaters, like, that crowd, the first time you see it, and it's like, it was a crazy experience, like, it's like we can't get that again. We're expecting that, but we're never going to get that.
I think that's where we're at right now. That's the biggest problem to all of this, is that when they started off with Iron Man, there's no ideal, no expectation, and Iron Man was great. And then it ends, and you're like, okay, there might be more. Do you find out the Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton was also connected? And you get Iron Man 2. And then they're talking about, you see the post-credit, and then now you see Mjolnir. And it's like, oh my God, Thor's coming. And then you get to the end of Thor, and then, okay, Loki escaped. We've got more coming. You get the Captain America movie. Then you see the trailer for Avengers, which we already knew it was coming, but to see the trailer is like, okay, we got something special. And then Disney bought Marvel right before Avengers came out. So it was still, I want to say Paramount. I think it was still under Paramount when that film came out. But Disney took that money.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it became this cycle of like, let's build this really, really big. And it's fucking great because we've never seen anything like it. And now that we've had it, we're spoiled. And we want that every time. So much so that that's what we're looking for when we watch these movies and these shows. It's like, how is this going to connect to the next thing? Or how is this going to set up that thing? King the Conqueror is the next big villain. Well, how do we get this? How do we set that up? And I was like, I wish we didn't know any of it.
Yeah.
Just give us a movie, give us a show, and let it build. You're always going to have people speculating. It's nature. But I think at this point, they're leaking too much information to us too. So,
yeah.
Just stop.
I haven't even really watched. I mean, I saw a little bit of Loki season 2, like when I was in Atlantic City, but I haven't really, like the first episode and half, like didn't watch anymore after.
I didn't get what was going on at first. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, no, it was good. I was like, probably. And, like, episode 3 and 4, though, they got me now. I'm like,
oh yeah, I'll have to watch that tonight then.
Like, now I gotta stay awake for these damn things again.
It's funny you say it because I'm young, bro, but I definitely have like gotten the habit of falling asleep during movies. Like I'll just pass out.
Yeah, dude, I haven't seen a couch that doesn't look delicious for a nap. I sit on a couch and it's like, oh, don't mind if I do.
Mm-hmm. I was even I was so excited to see that Spider-Man animated one. I saw your late show and I was like dozing off. I was like shit, and then luckily we work in the summer camp. One of the field trips we took him to go see it. I was like, say less, let's go watch it. You know?
Yeah, like where I work now, the guy that I take out into the community, he likes to go to the movies.
Mm-hmm.
So it varies. Sometimes we might go see a movie where I'm like, perfect opportunity for a nap. And sometimes it's like, you know what? I want to see this anyway. So I think we went to see Transformers Rise of the Beast.
How was that? I haven't seen that yet.
So
feelings?
I would say it's not good.
Yeah.
But it is fun. So it's weird, it's a fun romp for sure. Right. But if you're going in like, okay, I'm looking for a cohesive story, that's not the one. But the action was good. It's set in the 90s, so me being a kid of the 90s, the 80s and the 90s, you get a lot of hip hop because it was set in 94. So you're getting a lot of that hip hop from 92, 93, 94. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, I'm feeling this. But the rest of it was just kind of like, that doesn't make sense. Yeah. That's dumb. That's weird too. But
like primal robots.
Yeah. It was like, I was like, okay, I'm not like I'm done.
Yeah.
And then we went to see the Meg 2.
Okay. I saw the first one. That's like the big shark, right?
Yeah, the first one was fine. The first one was like good. I did the first one. The second one was like, why are we here? Like, why? Like, there's 3 of them now. And the one responds to clicks. Like, no. So that was a good opportunity for a nap. And then we saw Haunted Mansion. It was like that I enjoyed, but again,
Eddie Murphy.
So no, it's the new one. Who's in it? Rosario Dawson, Lakeith Stanfield, Owen Wilson.
Okay.
There are other people. I just don't know names, but those are the ones that stood out.
Okay.
I think those were like the lead characters.
Nice.
It was fine. Yeah.
Do you see Oppenheimer?
So I'm waiting for that. That's happening here at the house.
Okay.
I can't do that out and about. I got to be home. It's epic. I got to sit down and really take that one in.
Yeah. Dude, I saw it in IMAX. It was nuts.
So that's the only reason I would need to see it in the theater is for that experience. But I'm like, let me just sit here at home.
Yeah.
Take some drugs and watch it. Probably not the best move, but you know what? You got to get into the some way. But yeah, like now, like seeing movies is part of my job. Just the guy, he wants to see movies. I'm like, all right, well, cool, let's go.
Yeah.
He didn't want to see The Exorcist. Like he would walk by the poster like, oh, I want to see it. I was like, no, you don't. I want to see. So I showed him the trailers. I want to see that.
So what's your favorite genre of movie?
I mean, many would believe that it's horror, considering I have a horror podcast, and I do watch horror movies every single night. but I do love me a good comedy. I
Haven't had one of those in a while though.
Yeah, I mean, comedy is a weird thing now because it's like, what can we say is funny and what,
Yeah,
because I think a lot of shit's funny. But it's like, I'm supposed to think that's funny. It's like, but it is.
yeah. But it's like 10 years ago that was okay to be funny, right?
I mean, shit, even like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, you could like, have a wild comedy. And now it's like,
Yeah, don't do that.
yeah. Why are you laughing at that? Because it's hilarious? It's not, though. But it is.
But it is.
Like, you're in trouble. Am I? Like, so. But yeah, I love comedies, more often than I do just go back and watch old comedies. Like the stand-up comedy. I watch a lot of that.
Oh, yeah. Love stand-up comedy.
You got to get your laughs somewhere. But I think most consistently, probably horror is my favorite genre just because, like I said, I watch it every night. I do a podcast for it every other week. So there's a lot of horror that happens in my world. So, you got any like specific like favorites as far as like a full genre? Like,
I don't know. I'd say like all kinds of movies. Except for like rom-coms. I wouldn't say those are my favorite.
like accidentally, I might stumble upon one. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know
Like
this was that.
the Adam Sandler rom-coms are kind of funny, cute.
It's Adam Sandler though.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. He's like, look, this. We gonna balance this out. We doing this for the ladies, but I got the jokes for the guys.
Yeah,
we got you. So
appreciate it, Adam.
Like, yeah, he's looking out for us. Like, I feel bad because I know my wife really likes rom-coms, but it's like Friday night or really Saturday night movie time. It's like, hey, what do you want to watch? It's like, I don't know. It's like, okay, that means we're going to Shudder. pull up some Korean horror. She's like, oh, we got to read subtitles. I was like, oh, you got to read subtitles. Like, and then we'll watch it. And I feel like she wants to watch like other, like there's something on Netflix. Actually, I started watching it with her. I think it was called Dead to Me. And I was like, this doesn't feel like Dante friendly stuff. It was actually pretty fucking good.
Oh yeah,
it was like a whodunit type. Well, not a whodunit, but like I guess there's a guy was hit by a car, and you're kind of trying to figure out who hit him, and then it turns out it was like one of the chicks, but then maybe it wasn't one of the chicks. There's all this kind of like weird mystery to it all. I was like, okay, you're getting fed this information, but it turns out maybe that's not true because we don't know what happened on this spectrum as well.
Yeah,
so,
I like those kind of like those psychological like thriller rides. Like I really enjoyed that Joker movie. That was really cool. That like deep dive into like what it's like to be the Joker.
I like the movie. I wish that it wasn't Joker, just because like I have big feelings about some of the comic properties in certain ways. We actually just talked about this last night on our Nightmare on Elm Street episode, where we were talking about making certain villains sympathetic. Joker being one of those. Whereas that movie was fucking great.
Yeah.
But then there's this thing about making a character like the Joker, like having like, feeling bad for him. I was like, oh my God, like this guy, this poor guy. Meanwhile, he's a fucking lunatic and he's killing people.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you want to have some kind of heart for it, but it's also like, he's still killing people. That's not good.
I'm interested to see the sequel. That's gonna be good.
Yeah, I like Lady Gaga, and what was it? House of Gucci. I thought she was fucking phenomenal in that, and I was like, give me more. I want to see more of this lady acting. I think I never saw Star Wars Born.
That's a really good movie.
I've heard nothing but good things. And I feel like, though, that's my problem. It's like I've heard good things, and I'm going to go in with this expectation here. And it's probably going to be here. Still good, but I want it here. So
didn't she do like a season of American Horror Story too?
Yeah, she's done a few of those.
Yeah.
Like kind of on and off. I think she jumped in on the hotel season. I think that was season 5, I believe. And then she came back for a couple other seasons here and there. So,
which one was the clown season? I think that's the only one I've really watched.
So there was the carnival one, which was season 4 with the carnies, and then there was the season 7, which was Hive, which had the clowns in it as well. Those are the only two I can think. 1984. I don't think there's a clown involved. I think the guy who played the clown was like he did something else in that one. But I know season 4 had like Twisty the Clown with the big giant grin, which I think I'm gonna do for Halloween in a couple years.
Oh yeah.
So I've gotten away from doing like makeup for Halloween because I don't want to scare my daughter because she has to see me leave the house like that.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm like, I think she's old enough now. I can do it. I can get away with this. So I think not next year. I got a plan, but I think in a couple years I'm gonna do Twisty the Clown.
Very cool.
But that was season 4, and then I believe season 7 was the Hive season with like the election and like the cult. So it wasn't called Hive; it's called Cult. That's what it was. American Horror Story Cult. So yeah, things like that. It's fun. I think entertainment has gotten so vast when you look at comic book movies, horror movies, wherever my action figures are over there. Like psychological thrillers, but comedy is the one that's fallen by the wayside because it's like, well, what can we say is funny? So I don't know. I just like to laugh, even at fucked up stuff. Like my Columpton board is a little less right in this week, but normally there's some goofy shit on there, and it's like we're laughing at things that just we're not supposed to laugh at, but it's like, why not?
Flag football in the Olympics, that's the one that caught my eye.
Oh yeah, that shit's bonkers because the memes for that is because they're encouraging NFL players to like go in. It's like, could you imagine Tyreek Hill going up against a plumber from fucking Syria?
Yeah, right.
Just like crossing them up and it ain't coming back and then running again.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. But that got in. But Muay Thai didn't. I think Muay Thai was on the vote.
I say we put MMA in the Olympics, man.
It makes sense to do so because it is a worldwide sport.
Let's see who the best country has the best fighters.
Flag football. Guess what? Not a worldwide sport.
Yeah.
Like I don't see anyone in France playing football.
They're trying to get the NFL over in Europe. I kind of like what they're doing with the those like London games.
Yeah, I think they're going to Berlin in a couple weeks, maybe next week. It was rumored that they're trying to put a full-time team in London.
Yeah,
that could be a bit of a nightmare as far as travel goes. But
as far as the divisions, how are they going? They have to have another division, or how's that work?
I don't know, but. Hey, don't send Detroit over there to play, man. I'm tired of the Lions having to go somewhere to play. They can't even win at home sometimes.
Man, they couldn't even beat us in Baltimore, bro.
Dude, don't do this. Don't do this right now. Not here.
I was at that game. It was a good day to be a Ravens fan. Let's just say that.
Man, the Lions played like it was 2008 that day. I watched that game and I was like, I'm just sitting there like, yo, do y'all know what a pass rush is?
Yeah, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like on paper, you guys. We're supposed to beat us, like I said, on paper.
Like on paper, it looked like it was supposed to be like a competitive game at the very least.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the last 2 games between Detroit and Baltimore have been competitive games, and in this game, like Detroit may as well just stayed up at Ford Field. Was like, hey, we're gonna send on the practice squad and handle this for us. Like, don't do that.
I think the Detroit players must have went to Fed Hill the night before or something like that.
They did something. It was partying. Because I think there's Ray Rice's rookie year. I went to that game. Detroit came out here and it rained. It rained bad. They beat Detroit 48-0, and I'm sitting there in the stands. I'm glad it was raining because y'all couldn't tell if I was crying or not. It was definitely crying. I was like, yo, what is this? Why am I here? And, the next couple games, again, close games. I feel like, there was a game where, I don't know, time expired. Detroit should have won, but I just feel like, they didn't look at the clock properly and they let a kicker kick the longest field goal ever. So not only did he break a record, but he also won the fucking game illegally. It's okay, though. It's okay. We weren't in playoff contention, so it doesn't matter. But now putting a team in Europe, you may as well just have a whole division if you're going to do that, because
that'd be interesting. It's kind of like like how combat sports, different countries approach stuff differently. I'd be interested to see how a European approach to an American sport,
Like, I have a friend in Ireland. He's a big Chicago Bears fan. It's weird. Like, he was on the podcast, and I was like, why? Why Chicago?
Yeah.
Like, that's weird. Like, Chicago, I mean, and I think his dad was a Chicago Bears fan back when they won the Super Bowl, and just always stuck with him. I was like, oh, that's fair.
I'd be a Lions fan before I'd be a Chicago fan.
Dude, I'd be any fan besides Green Bay and Chicago. And you would think, well, Minnesota's in a Division II, you should hate them too. I do a little bit. And Kirk Cousins played for Michigan State, so I kind of hate him too. But I don't encounter Minnesota fans because they don't have any. But I don't encounter Minnesota fans that are shitty. Green Bay fans, on the other hand, and Bears fans,
rowdy,
they make you want to stab them a little bit. Yeah, I know that's on air. That's heard. So
I have my grandparents live in Minnesota, so my first NFL jersey was a Brett Favre Vikings jersey.
That's got to be worth something.
Yeah,
that's got to have value to it, man. I mean, and that's the thing. It's like certain fan bases, like on Columpton, I'm notorious for ripping into Ravens fans because I go to the games and I'm like, oh, yo, I want to fight all of y'all right now because because one of our jobs that we worked at before was heavy Ravens fans, and we had a suite at the stadium, so
nice.
We could go to the games, and it was just weird. You go to the games, like people aren't even Ravens. They're like Ravens fans by, I live near Baltimore, so I'm a Ravens fan. I was like, are you though? And they're winning. Yay, we're fans. Like,
fake fans.
Like, grow the fuck up. It's like, son, I've been cheering for the Lions forever, and we've been losing forever. Like,
ride or die.
Yeah, it's like, look, if you ever question my loyalty, just understand.
I'm a Lions fan.
Yeah. It's like, well, how loyal is he? He's loved the Lions since '92. Did you see that Washington game? Yes, he cried. No, that's actually when I first started really, really caring about football. Is when they played the Cowboys. They beat them like 38-6 in the divisional round. I was like, oh yeah, son, what? Then they played Washington the next week, and Washington beat them so bad. I lived in Newark, Delaware at that time, and we were moving here. And I didn't understand this was Redskins country at that point.
Right.
So they beat them so bad. I was just like, I don't know how to feel about football. This shit sucks. Then we moved here, and all I saw was fucking burgundy and gold. I was like, fuck this place. I hate it here. And then Steve knocks on my door. You want to play basketball? Fucking Redskins. It's like, fuck this guy. But it's like, you have people that like when the Seahawks were winning. When did they get fans? Because they ain't ever had no fans before.
Yeah, right.
Like, I remember when the Seahawks was picking number 1 and number 2 in the draft every year. The Bengals picking top 3 every year.
Yeah.
The Browns are still picking top 3 every year. But those fair weather fans. It was like, oh my God, they're winning now. I'm gonna be like who was like Carolina when they went 15-1. It's like, I like the Panthers now.
Yeah.
I was like, do you though?
Yeah, right.
Because nobody. I don't think Carolina fans like the Panthers. I think most of those cats like Florida teams and the Falcons at least. Like, motherfuckers don't be liking anything in Carolina. Y'all just got a team in '94. Sit down.
Yeah, right.
Dummies. And Jacksonville, the worst place to ever get a fucking team. I think Jacksonville smells like a sewer.
I've never been.
Don't
go.
There. It's not. When they announced that they were getting the team, I was just like, my first was like, where is Jacksonville? I was like, it's in Florida. I was like, Orlando, Tampa could, maybe use another team. They sucked at that point, but they could have another. Miami could have another team.
Miami need another team.
I mean, Fort Lauderdale, even, for fuck's sake. It's like Jacksonville, Tallahassee, give them a team.
Right.
No, they said, no, Jacksonville deserves this. Somebody's got some dirt on the commissioner. That's why they got a team. So Carolina made sense. I mean, a market, but Jacksonville was like, you guys suck, and they still suck. So anyhow, sorry, I'm getting my Columpton feelings. So I'm gonna record Columpton tonight. I ain't gonna have shit to talk about. So he was like, so what are we talking about? I don't know. I got all my feelings out earlier today. Like, let's just drink this beer, watch the game. So I guess. It's weird how I do that transition from like I'm all aggressive. I'm like, okay, so back to the show. So as everything stands right now, with training, you're coaching, primarily Muay Thai. Like, what's that experience been like for you? Like coming up into that realm of just the game, like learning and then moving on to coaching.
So it's definitely helped my competition. I feel like my training, seeing maybe mistakes that I make and I don't realize it, but I see it in my students. Working with the adults and the kids has definitely been a cool experience. The kids has been like so rewarding. Like when I promote like a white shirt to yellow shirt, the adults like, all right, cool, like congrats, bro. But like when those kids get their new belt and like that like raw emotion, it's like it means something. They earned it. We instill that discipline in them early. Like I'm happy to have obviously all of our coaches, but Mahoney's a great kids coach, a great teammate to be around.
Yeah, like I always tell him, it's like I said when I started doing the private lessons with him. It's like from the beginning, I was like, look, when I am ready to do this, I'm coming to you. It's not to downplay any other coaches. There's just always this feel of like how he approaches it, how he explains things.
Yeah.
Like he has a way of like keeping like the attention there. And I know for me, I think he can tell like when I'm like, okay, I'm not so sure about this. That armbar seems like there's too many steps there. He's like, okay, hold on, I got you. We can still get there from here. I think that's important with coaches, again, understanding, your students, and also just knowing how much this means to the students, like the kids getting promoted, your strikers getting, your new shirt, getting promoted there. It means so much. And I always feel like, I see it on Instagram a lot with some coaches. Well, not the coaches specifically, but you hear about gyms where it's like, it's almost kind of like just you got promoted, just keep showing up and pay. Whereas like, when your coaches really give a damn, like you can feel it. You feel that they want to keep teaching you, the next steps.
Right. And I feel like that we have like a good structure, obviously amongst all of our programs, but definitely the striking program. Like, I mean, I've seen it firsthand. I've been to other gyms and cross-trained and sparred guys who have X number of fights who honestly have no business being out there. I've seen like the first day guys, they just, all right, welcome to the gym. We're going to beat the shit out of each other. Let's put some MMA gloves on, just duke it out. It's definitely that's all. I mean, it's all good. It's all experience. You need to do that at some point, but I feel like the way that we have it structured the gym is like, you're hitting pads for a couple months. So you're learning how to throw a middle kick. You're learning how to throw your punches, how to do it correctly, safely, so that when you are at a sparring level or you're at a live drilling level, you're able to perform your techniques in a safe fashion and correctly, right?
Yeah, that's so important. Is I went to one gym, the first gym I went to, and nice people, but it did, like, as a guy coming in for a trial, they're just kind of like throw them to the wolves, like. No, like, hey, work over here with this person to kind of get your feet wet. It was like, nope, just throw them in there. I'm going to do King of the Hill today.
Yeah.
I know what the fuck that was.
Which, even though I just, like, to counter my point I just made, again, developmentally, couldn't be the worst idea. I mean, obviously, you're letting this new guy off the street spar with, like, your UFC fighter. It's probably a little dangerous, but, I mean, I also couldn't be the worst thing, so that you can see like, damn, like that first day was whoa, like I got the shit kicked out of me. But then it's like a couple months later, like, okay, I can hang, and then okay, now I'm getting these guys.
I do think there is a way of kind of separating, I guess, those who are there for it and those that may not be so sure. Because if you throw them into the water and like, look, you got to sink or swim.
Yeah.
Those that stick around for a couple months, they're obviously swimming. Those that are like, look, I'm out after day one, they're gonna sink. For me, at that gym, it was just really a matter of, it felt like, all right, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I watch a lot of MMA, but I don't know shit. Like, And I'm just in there getting mollywopped left and right. It was MMA class, so it wasn't even like a pure like jiu-jitsu. So I was just like getting the shit kicked out. He was like, okay, I'm not coming back here. Then I ended up landing in Arnold at Ivy League. It was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is home.
Yeah, I've heard good things about like the Ivy League program, and obviously that was before my time with you guys, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, like Mark and I still kind of talk about it sometimes. Like there was a culture there that we had, and 88 we have that similar culture. Is bigger though, because there's we have 3 schools, so you're gonna have kind of a bigger expansion of that. Whereas like at Ivy League, it was 1 school, and we were kind of an extension of 88 as well.
Yeah.
But it was like Ivy League guys were here, and 88 was there. We mingled, but it was like we're here, and there was something unique about that. But when you kind of spread it out now amongst these 3 gyms, I think it's stronger because it's like you have kind of more resources to really turn to in a matter of like, if I say, hey, I'll use yesterday's class as an example. It was a small class, and Mahoney's there. He's running the class, and Mark showed up, and
You guys at Savannah Park?
yeah,
Okay.
over at Savannah Park, and you have Mahoney who's running the class, but then you could turn to Mark to kind of help because we were doing lasso. It was like, okay, Mark's got some experience with this. This is kind of one of his go-to guards right now. So you can turn there. You can go back to Mahoney. We had, a couple other guys there too, where it's like, you have your resources where you kind of bounce this all off of. And then, kind of take it back to Coach Keith at this point. Like, hey, because, Coach Keith is a lasso guy.
Yeah.
Like, anytime I was doing the Wednesday class and we do anything lasso, it's like, okay, I know that I'm learning lasso from like the best of the best at this point. And that's not the, throwing anything towards, Mahoney or Mark or anything.
Yeah.
Because, what Mahoney's teaching us as well is fucking great.
But everyone has their thing, right?
Yes. But it's like we have, so many different resources amongst our 3 gyms where it's like, dude, this is, I think just such a great time, in the sport, but not just the sport, but like for our gym in itself, because we just have so much to offer.
Yeah, I definitely I'll say it again. Like, I'd really believe that there's something special at that gym. Like, I felt it from like when I first joined, coming from traditional martial arts. Like, Jiao Ga, like we have a shrine. Like we bow to your ancestors every day. Like, we have that hierarchy, obviously, like belts and ranks, but it's like in Jiao Ga, the Kung Fu gym, it was like Dante, you've been there longer than you're my big brother. Even there were people who were younger than me that were like, and that's kind of like Devin Riley, he's my upper, he's a purple belt, right? He's been in the game longer. But that family atmosphere, and we don't have a traditional, style gym, but I feel that family atmosphere, that like that connection that you could really go to anybody in the gym. Like, if you're having a bad day, you can just have that support system behind you, coaches, teammates, and even in like the development side of it, like you have like our coaches leading from the front. Sergio's like, he's accomplished in his own right,
Like, I think about when when Ivy League became Crazy 88, and then we started training more over, myself personally started training more at Elkridge, because to me it was a new environment. It was all brand new to me over there, and I felt like, oh my god, like I don't know these cats, and then I started questioning myself as a blue belt. I was like, am I really a blue belt? I trust my coach. He promoted me, but I wasn't going to Coach Keith's class, to kind of cut my teeth there. And coming into Elkridge, welcome with open arms.
Yeah.
It felt like, I think any reservations I had was all in my own head with my anxiety. But no one ever gave me, any issues. It was always like, want to roll? Okay, cool. Don't, you can't roll? Okay, no problem. Some people know about my stomach. I wear a colostomy bag. Some know, and those who knew, were always kind of like, aware of like, hey, is everything okay? Which is like, I was like, thanks for, checking on me. It's like, look, I signed a waiver. If I get that knee to the belly, knee on belly, that's my responsibility to get the fuck out of there. But thank you for, caring. But it was very, very much like, look, man, you're part of this too. Like, we're not casting Severna Park out because you guys are the new guys over here. A lot of Severna Park, or Ivy League was training at Elk Ridge anyway. Like Epps, specifically Sonia, they were over there. I think Mark was transitioning over there a lot more. So it wasn't even like I was just another one of the cats coming over. It wasn't like, oh, this guy's new. It was like, nope, he's coming from Ivy League / Severna Park. Come on in, join us. And, that welcoming vibe made me really feel like, you know what? Yeah, this is special. Because even when I think I went to one of Ty's class on Friday.
Love Ty's class.
Like, Ty's great. And the thing is, I think I've only bumped into him a couple times. He greeted me like we was old friends. I was like, oh shit, oh my god, like that feels right.
Yeah, he definitely cares, and like it's like we were talking about, we had like a coaches meeting. Like Master Julius was like, if you're at Coach Ty's class, like he's in the practice. Like he's in, like he's invested for sure. And you can feel it. That energy's crazy,
The first time I went to that class, I didn't know it was a 90-minute class. And I went with Mark. And he was like, oh, come on, it's going to be good. I love that, like, the warm-ups were like drills. Like, it wasn't like, this isn't a knock like, the line drills where we're doing forward rolls and backward rolls and shrimping down the mat. But it was like, look, we're going to be working on this. This is our warm-up. Do these movements. I was like, okay, cool. So that caught me off guard because I was like, oh my God, like I burned up all this energy just doing the warm up. And then at the end of the hour, I look, I was like, okay, it's time to go home. We go home, take a shower, quiet time with my family.
Get your mouthpiece, time to roll.
Yeah, sparring time. I was like, I looked at Mark, I was like, the fuck? Like, oh no, it is a 90-minute class. I was like, yeah, you should have told me that. and he tried to get me to roll with Timmy. Like, he was like, oh, you should go roll with Timmy. I was like, I just saw him and Ty going hard. I was like, nah, I'm all right.
Timmy's been doing his thing, like the wrestling.
Yeah, we went to Jeremy, Mark, and I went out to one of their events. Was it back in June?
I saw that. I think I saw that you guys went.
It was fun. The fun part to me was like Mark hadn't been to a wrestling event, so it was like watching a kid for the first time getting this experience. Like, oh my god, it was great.
It's funny, like my when I was a kid, like my first, I guess you could say, introduction to, I mean, before Taekwondo stuff, but like WWE, I would watch WWE as a kid, and like I was like, damn, like I want to be in the WWE, I want to be a WWE champ, like that was my thing when I was a kid. And now it's as an adult, it's UFC, I want to be a UFC champ, Well,
the funny thing with WWE is a lot of them train jiu-jitsu. You got a few MMA fighters, like not the obvious ones like Brock and Ronda, but like Matt Riddle, he was with the UFC for a little bit. I think he just got cut from WWE, I believe. But there's a couple, I can't remember the names off the top, but there's like a few MMA fighters that have transitioned over to WWE, and it's interesting to see that they utilize MMA or jiu-jitsu specific moves as part of their finishers, like Shayna Baszler, she's using jiu-jitsu. Ronda Rousey obviously using the arm bar.
Boston Crab.
Yeah, Boston Crab. Undertaker used to do go-go platters.
Yeah.
like we didn't even know what the fuck that was. It was like, oh, it's the gates of hell. Like, nah, doggy, that's a omoplata.
Yeah.
Or no, not an omo. That's a go-go plata. I'm sorry, not even an omoplata. But yeah, I think Daniel Bryan was doing omoplatas in his finisher. So yeah, it's kind of that thing now. You see Timmy over there doing the Maryland Championship Wrestling. It's like, there is a way that does transition over. And, good. Because, I mean, in jiu-jitsu is like, he's a black belt. He's done, several super fights. He's won championships.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's go on to the next venture in life. Let's see what this takes you to. So good for him, and, good for the growth.
Yeah. It's always good to see him, like, when he comes back to the gym, too. I don't really know him that well personally, but obviously I know how accomplished he is. And he'll do the Muay Thai class, and, like, I see him in there sometimes. So that's cool.
Like I was watching Muay Thai yesterday in class, like before jiu-jitsu stepped on the mats at Serena Park. I was like, dude, I should go back to this.
You should, bro.
Like I did it a couple times. I clinked shins accidentally, and I was like, I'd rather just get fucking guillotine, just put to sleep.
It's funny, like I tell my boys all the time, like I come home from practice and all scratched up, bruised and stuff. They're like, damn, like you were sparring. I was like, nah, bro, like this black guy's from jiu-jitsu. Like I feel like I get kicked and punched more in jiu-jitsu just on accident, than when I'm striking.
I think like the way that I grapple is more just smothering and pressure pass. So I was like, you ain't hitting me today.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put all 215 on you.
Put that weight down.
You gotta carry me today. I rode with Mark yesterday, and he was cool about it. He was real like just. I love rolling with Mark because he knows I'm old and tired. He'll look at me and like, we gonna take it easy.
Yeah, Mark's a great guy, man. I got to know him a little bit more when we went out to what was that? I think we did finishers together or a Naga tournament somewhere out in like Pennsylvania or something like that. I love like traveling. Obviously that's a kind of comes nice with choosing this career path. Traveling a little bit. It's nice to get out. I've never been to Atlantic City until ADCC. It was kind of like fake Vegas, East Coast Vegas kind of deal.
It tried.
It tried. Yeah, it was nice. We were at the Harrah's, the nice casino venue. Never been any casino besides Maryland Live, so I mean expectations were kind of low.
It's like with my schedule changing now to what it is. It's like I kept saying to myself, now that I got weekends, it's like competition. I'm, probably not going to compete. I don't know. I might compete again. I don't know. But I definitely want to go to the competitions with the team and like just like be there. Like look, just support the team, cheer the team on.
Yeah.
It is like I gotta like look at the schedule because I think there was a competition last week and I was like, oh shit. Lugs was out there competing. I didn't even know. I would have gone.
Yeah, bro. I felt like a bad teammate. I was at the Ravens game last Sunday, and everyone's competing. I'm like, oh. They said in the kids coach group chat, they're like, oh, what coaches are going out? I was like, I'm gonna be at the game.
I got an engagement. Okay, really? What is it? Just a thing. It's a recreational thing with the family.
With like, LJ8, baby.
Like, well, okay, what family? My cousin Lamar. You got a cousin named Lamar?
Yeah. Eli, you definitely have a cousin named Lamar.
He's from Louisville. Like, okay, we never knew that. And they see you on the fucking big screen. They're like, the fuck? But yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of it. It's like, being a teammate, being a coach, and caring about your team. Every so often you got to have your moment as well.
Yeah. And that's kind of finding that balance because, as an athlete, you want to be selfish. You have to prioritize your recovery, your training. As a coach, you're selfless. You have to put these guys first and find that balance. And I think it's definitely helpful coming up under Sebastian and, knowing his expectations, like how it's run, how he wants things to be run. So like when even today, he's out of town. I covered his class this morning. I was telling him, I was like, look, like, we're not fucking around. Like, how we're supposed to do things, whether he's here or not. So, like, we're going to get in, we're going to get out, we're going to get this work, and y'all can enjoy the rest of your Sunday, do whatever you want to do,
No substitute teacher. No rolling the TV. I'm like, all right, we're watching a movie today, class.
Nope.
Like, nah.
Nope, not today.
Get your hands wrapped.
Yeah.
Like, get out here.
I think also, like, going back to the coaching thing, again, like, coming up in the system, going from being able to relate, like, I tell them all the time, I was like, look, like I was you. Like I was a white shirt. I was day one, didn't know what was going on. And like, now look at me, like this could be you if you just go all in, like every day, twice a day, just, anything's possible, man.
Yeah. That's something that I always try to remind myself of, like with doing anything. Everyone started off as a white belt.
Yeah. All of our coaches were white belts too,
So, and also everyone's path is different.
Yeah.
It's like I always kind of kick myself sometimes. It's like, man, you've been a blue belt for a long ass time. And it's like, yeah, but looking at, how I train, it's like, okay, well, I'm not training. Like, I'm not even training in a way where it's like, okay, I'm going for purple.
Yeah.
I'm just training really to make sure, like, I'm grasping what I'm doing, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Whereas, you might have like Epps, we ran into each other, was it back in the spring? He goes, "Hey man, you got to get your purple belt before I get my brown belt." Then when I saw the picture, he got his brown belt, I was like, fuck, I can't see him for a while. Because he will not let me forget what he said. But then I did see him like 2 weeks after. And my first, I was like, I want to roll with you. We came up together. Then he armbarred me. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, bro, and I've had that too. I mean, obviously, like, not making any excuses for myself, but injuries, time off and stuff. I've seen people come up, raise ranks above me. I've seen people fall off, like even in my short time of training, and I always just adopt that growth mindset, and comparison's the thief of joy, so I mean, honestly, as long as the team's doing good, I'm doing good, then everything's all good.
I think a big part too is how you handle that adversity with with the injuries specifically. You came back from it. You didn't let the injury define you. You just let the injury be part of the story. Said, this is just a chapter, I'm moving on. Instead of saying, okay, this is who I am now. Fuck, my UCL is torn. This is just what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to live with it. No, no, we're going to get this thing strong. Like, I had a plan. I'm not letting this steal my plan. So, good for you.
Thank you.
So, let's go ahead and wrap up here.
All right.
I've been going for a minute, my friend. But thank you for doing this again. And I would love to have you back on.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of those big things about this is like once you get talking, get that flow, it's like, oh my God, like we kicking it now.
Yeah,
like,
man. I was definitely excited for the opportunity. Like, I watched a lot of Joe Rogan and stuff, so I was like, dude, like, again, trying to get into the podcast space, like different media stuff. Thank you again for the opportunity, bro.
Absolutely. Thank you again. And I mean, shit, don't count out making your own. I mean, I know you got a full plate, but
I'm thinking about it. I know a guy can help me get started.
That it's like people think like, oh my God, it's so expensive, and it's all like, it's not. Trust me, it's not.
Yeah.
It's like, as a matter of fact, I know somebody that might have some extra gear. I don't know.
Yeah, I have friends who make a little bit of music and stuff, so I'm familiar with the audio stuff, interface stuff.
That's huge. Walking in with that knowledge is huge, because I came in, I didn't know shit, and I was just like, that sounds okay. That doesn't sound okay. And then I was like, shit, I don't know how to convert this. I was like, why are you doing it that way? I don't know. I don't know, dude. I don't know. And they're like, do it this way. Okay, cool.
Right.
So definitely don't count out, starting it up yourself as well. I mean, you've got tons of knowledge and just wisdom, to share with others. And I think that's huge. So, keep at what you're doing, and, on to the next chapter. Thank you for doing this. Before we get out of here, though, you got any shout outs, mentions you want to drop?
Oh, yeah. Shout out Coach Cody, Coach Campanero, my strength coaches, Sean Hurlon, my physical therapist. Those guys got me right for, my competition. Obviously, all my coaches at Crazy 88, Coach Sebastian, teaching me all I know about Muay Thai. All my friends, my family, love you guys. Thank you guys for supporting me on this journey.
All right. And as always, thank you, everybody. We do appreciate you, and just all the support from everyone listening, everyone that's just reposted the podcast. Thank you for that too. Do appreciate that. If y'all have any questions, concerns, criticisms, always feel free to reach out to me. You can find me at bjj.wiki on Instagram, or Off the Mats Podcast on Instagram. You got any questions, concerns? Shoot me a DM there. You can email me too. I'm not going to check it, but you can still shoot me an email. I'll find it eventually, but it's just I get scammers and I get scared. But yeah, if you want to be on, just reach out. Just like, hey man, let's talk, and we will talk. I want to give a big shout out to my crew over at Nerd Rage Radio. Bobby, Chris, Joe, you guys know. I shout them out all the time. Maryland Phil, Ricky Ticky, all those guys. If it wasn't for Nerd Rage Radio, I would not be doing podcasting. So I always want to shout them out, because that's how I started with them. And then I had to venture onto my own thing, because, sometimes my ideas got a little too radical. Also want to give a shout out to my friend BJJ Mama. She also has an account where she helps with social media content and growth called Social Media Strategies That Work on Instagram. So go check it out. And then last shout I want to drop is for my other podcast, So You Like Horror. If y'all like scary movies and stuff like that, go check it out. With Halloween coming up tomorrow, technically, when you all may hear this, we have an episode coming out on Halloween for So You Like Horror. Basically talk about Rob Zombie's Halloween. So if you're into that kind of thing, you're curious, go ahead and listen. I know people have some, big feelings about Rob Zombie's take on Halloween. So go listen to our big feelings as well. And also shout out to Mr. Eli Adams. Thank you for doing this. And there will be a link to go find him on social media if you'd like to go check out content and just follow his journey, because just talking with him here, you can see this guy, he's growing, he's moving forward. So go follow the journey. Thank you for doing this. And again, big shout out. So love you all. Thank you. Thank you so much. You guys keep listening. We're going to keep making these shows. Thank you again. Bye.
Deeper with it. Now let me sing a song.